Hello and welcome back. In this Black Excellist series, we will highlight 10 Black history characters that we want to see in a Tyler Perry movie. Welcome to Black Excellist. This is where we celebrate Black excellence, achievement, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you. First, we want to acknowledge Tyler Perry for his comedic genius and undeniable talent. The movie Mogul recently earned the title of Black Billionaire by Forbes magazine in 2023, joining the ranks of Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Jay-Z, and LeBron James. And now that he has built a 300-acre production studio in Atlanta that is worth close to $500 million, we have a small request for Mr. Perry. Can you sprinkle in some Black pioneers into some of your upcoming multi-million-dollar projects? Yes, we know the Madea movies have been your perennial blockbuster, making millions of dollars at the box office. And as a response to your critics, you'll say, look at the ratings. Do you understand that the audience is in love with this? Or, if you're complaining about my writing, you're not the audience. But here's the deal. We want to be your audience. To his credit, we are aware that Tyler Perry is honoring the 6888 Battalion. We are so looking forward to this story around the only all-Black, all-female battalion in World War II. But we want to see more, whether it's at the theaters or on Netflix. So we hope that Tyler Perry, Oprah, and Black Hollywood would come together to shine a light on some of our unsung Black heroes, sheroes, and pioneers. In this Black Excellist exclusive, we will highlight the compelling and intriguing Black historical figures we want to see in a movie. So without further ado, let's get started. There's a solid argument that ALTHEA GIBSON was the most important African-American athlete in the history of professional sport. She was born in 1927 in Silver, South Carolina, growing up in the Harlem section of New York City during the Great Depression. Her path to tennis stardom was unusual. ALTHEA learned table tennis, quickly mastering the sport and winning a citywide tournament at age 12. Recognizing her talent, neighbors raised funds to help pay for tennis lessons, thus propelling her into tennis stardom. GIBSON began winning local and regional tournaments, but was barred from national events because of her race. But she would eventually become the first Black player to win a Grand Slam tournament with the French Championships. The next year, she was the first Black champion of Wimbledon. By the time GIBSON retired from tennis, she had won 11 Grand Slam titles and was the world's top-ranked female player. At age 37, she took up professional golf, becoming the first Black player on the LPGA Tour. But she battled racism there as well, but her success in two sports dominated by whites inspired generations of Black athletes. Which actress do you think Tyler Perry could cast as ALTHEA GIBSON? Let us know in the comments below. Scott-HERON was a poet, musician, author, and larger-than-life figure who inspired generations of people through his music, books, activism, and the value of humanism that he fought for throughout his life. He was born in 1949 in Chicago, the son of a Jamaican professional soccer player and a college graduate mother who worked as a librarian. Many consider Scott-HERON as the godfather of rap music. His concoction of combining spoken words poetry with irresistible funk rhythms inspired generations of conscious rap artists, with his aggressive, no-nonsense street poetry and his engaging songwriting skills. His epic poem/song, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," was a slogan that has resonated through the decades, calling for Black Americans to free their minds of television and entertainment so that they can be more focused on social change. In 2021, Scott-HERON was immortalized in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where he is considered a teller of uncomfortable truths. Which actor do you think Tyler Perry could cast as Scott-HERON? Let us know in the comments below. Jane Bolin was an amazing woman. Although her college career counselor discouraged her from applying to Yale Law School, the school admitted her, and in 1931, Bolin became Yale Law School's first female African-American graduate. As the first African-American female judge in the United States, she was a trailblazer in many ways. After her appointment to New York's Domestic Relations Court, BOLIN was the only Black female judge in the U.S. for the next 20 years. BOLIN would go on to set an example for lawyers in New York and throughout the country, dedicating herself to her career and community. She was an activist for children's rights and education and served as a legal advisor to the National Council of Negro Women. BOLIN also served on the boards of the NAACP, the National Urban League, as well as the Child Welfare League. After a legal career spanning more than 45 years, BOLIN has left a lasting legacy for many Black women to come. Which actress would be a great casting for a Jane BOLIN biopic? Please let us know in the comments below. Jerry was the Black video game engineer who changed the way we play. Born in New York City in 1940, Gerald Anderson Lawson is renowned for helping develop the first cartridge-based home video game console system, allowing for interchangeable games. As a young kid, he earned money by repairing television sets. And at the age of 13, he gained an amateur radio license and built his own radio station at home with parts he bought from local electronics stores. In 1970, Jerry joined Fairchild Semiconductor in San Francisco. And while there, he created a coin-operated video game called Destruction Derby in his garage. He then became chief hardware engineer at Fairchild, leading the development team to create a new video game console they called the Fairfield Channel F, featuring a joystick, pause button, and a library of interchangeable games that we call cartridges. Soon after, the Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and Atari consoles picked up on the cartridge concept and ran with it. Which actor do you think Tyler Perry could cast as Jerry Lawson? Let us know in the comments below. Born to sharecroppers in a small Texas town, Elizabeth Bessie Coleman became interested in flying while living in Chicago, where her brothers told her stories about the exploits of World War I. However, Bessie was faced with the challenge that American flight schools did not permit her due to not only her race, but also her gender. Undeterred, Coleman moved to Paris, where she learned the language and enrolled in a prestigious aviation school. In 1921, she became the first Black woman to earn a pilot's license. Returning back to the United States, Coleman began performing on the barnstorming circuit, earning cheers for her daring loops, acrobatic figure eights, and other aerial stunts. She would be called Queen Bess and Brave Bessie. However, in a turn of tragic events, she was practicing for a May Day celebration in Jacksonville, Florida, and her plane flipped while piloted by her mechanic. Unfortunately, Coleman wasn't wearing a seatbelt and plunged to her sudden demise at the age of only 34. Which actress do you think Tyler Perry could cast as Queen Bess? Let us know in the comments below. Fannie Lou Townsend Hamer rose from humble beginnings in the Mississippi Delta to become one of the most important, passionate, and powerful voices of the civil and voting rights movements. Hamer was born in 1917, the 20th and last child of sharecroppers. In June 1963, after successfully completing a voter registration program in Charleston, South Carolina, Hamer and several other Black women were arrested and brutally beaten. This unfortunate event motivated Hamer to register hundreds of college students to vote in the segregated South and dedicate her life to the civil rights movement. Hamer was in high demand for speaking engagements and traveled extensively, delivering powerful speeches on behalf of women's rights and racial justice. Hamer helped found the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party and brought the civil rights struggle in Mississippi to the attention of the entire nation during a televised session at the 1964 Democratic National Convention. Along with voter registrations, Hamer set up organizations to improve the economic opportunities for Black Mississippians while providing childcare and other family services to minorities in the Delta. Which actress do you think could best play the part of Fannie Lou Hamer? Let us know in the comments below. Mary Ellen Pleasant was indentured early in life to a business-savvy shopkeeper from whom she learned the basics of running a business. As an adult, Mary Ellen married a wealthy free landowner named J.J. Smith, who was also a very active abolitionist. Together, the couple worked to help slaves escape to the North and funded multiple abolitionist causes. But after her husband died young, Mary Ellen found herself as a cook and a servant for wealthy white families in California during the gold rush. She adopted their thoughts and spending habits and began to quickly amass a startling personal fortune of $30 million based on stocks, real estate, boarding houses, and a series of businesses, including laundries and food establishments. Mary Ann Pleasant became one of the city's most notable entrepreneurs and socialites, but more importantly, the first Black female self-made millionaire. As Pleasant became more powerful and influential, she continued her work for civil rights, often in the courts, using thousands of dollars of her own money to defend falsely accused African Americans. Yet the legal entanglements that she faced toward the end of her life nearly overshadowed all her accomplishments and reduced her legacy to infamy. Who do you think would be best to cast as Mary Ann Pleasant? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below. The son of a boxer, Fritz was a fighter, and his journey unfolds as a compelling American biographical drama amidst the backdrop of the transformative New Negro movement and the vibrant Roaring Twenties. Standing at just 5 feet 9 inches and 165 pounds, Pollard emerged as one of the first Black athletes to attain national fame. His led Brown University to the inaugural Rose Bowl game in 1916. After serving in the Army during World War I, Pollard joined the Akron Pros of the American Professional Football Association, which later became the NFL. He led them to a victory in what many consider the first ever NFL championship. Fans taunted him with racial slurs, and opposing players tried to injure him, but Pollard, a swift and elusive runner, often had the last laugh. Pollard's trailblazing legacy continued as he became the NFL's first Black quarterback and coach. Over the next 7 years, Pollard coached 4 different teams and founded a Chicago football team of all African American players. Later, he launched a newspaper and ran a successful investment firm. Pollard was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2005. Paul Leroy Robeson was an exceptional athlete, actor, singer, cultural scholar, and activist who became famous both for his cultural accomplishments and for his political stances. The son of an escaped slave, Robeson was born in 1898 in Princeton, New Jersey, and at the age of 17, he was given a scholarship to Rutgers University, where he graduated his class valedictorian before attending Columbia University Law School. Robeson excelled at virtually everything he committed himself to, but it was his acting and singing career that earned him worldwide fame. Paul Robeson's many accomplishments remain obscured by racist propaganda of his time, as his role in the history of civil rights and as a spokesperson for the oppressed remains relatively unknown. In 1995, his athletic accomplishments were finally recognized with his posthumous entry into the College Football Hall of Fame. But since there are only a handful of movies and recordings of him still available, it's sad that many of us are not aware of one of the greatest Americans of the 20th century. Who should Tyler Perry recruit to play the role of the illustrious Paul Robeson? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. One of the fastest men ever to race on 2 wheels was Major Taylor, a Black American who dominated sprint cycling in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Taylor's story began in Indiana, where he first started to ride. A bike shop hired him to do trick riding in front of the store to attract customers. Marshall would ride backwards, sit on the handlebars, all while wearing a military-style jacket, thus earning the nickname Major. Major would win the first amateur race he entered at the age of 14. After turning pro, Taylor was competing in races across the US, Europe, and Australia, becoming the second Black athlete to win a world championship in any sport. He did all this while battling bitter racial prejudice during the Jim Crow era, often from white cyclists who either refused to compete against him or tried to seriously injure him during races. At the conclusion of one Boston race, another cyclist was so upset that he placed third behind Major that he choked him until he blacked out. But Major, the consummate gentleman who held no bitterness in his heart, didn't allow these incidents to stop him from setting world records, drawing huge crowds, and becoming the first Black celebrity athlete. Who should Tyler Perry tap to play the role of Major Taylor? Leave your suggestions in the comments below. We appreciate the fact that you stayed until the end. Thank you for spending time with us, and don't forget to like this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so that you never miss a video. Bye for now. We will see you tomorrow.
Like we're not going anywhere. Maybe it's because